स्वयं रूपः कदामः लिंगरादिश्वरान्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वते गौरवाणी प्रचारे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you once again for this Bhagavad study. So we are in the 13th chapter. So last time we discussed the 20th verse. Okay, you are able to see the screen?
It is loading, Prabhuji. I think it will come. The PDF is loading, otherwise we are able to see the screen.
Okay, so last section we were discussing from 18th to 28th verse. Yudhishthira Maharaj, Vidura is telling to Dhritarashtra about the reality of this world, and is inducing Dhritarashtra to quit the home. Right? So that section is so if you go to the .17. So this is a sloka quoted by Sutta Goswami. Evam gurheshu shaktanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramad avignata kalaha paramadushtara.
Thus Maharaj Yudhishthira, thus Maharaj Dhritarashtra, the scion of the family of Ajamedha, firmly convinced by introspective knowledge, prajna, broke at once the strong network of familial affection by his resolute determination. Thus he immediately left home to set out on the path of liberation, as directed by his younger brother Vidura.
No, which was you are reading though?
Which shloka is? Which shloka is?
Which was you are reading?
29, sorry.
29 you are reading. Okay. No problem.
Prabhuji, we can't see your screen. Not, and nothing
Yeah.
is
Very
We are
low.
not able to see your screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We are seeing your screen, Prabhuji, but that PDF is coming. Not the verse. Not folio is not coming. I think Google Chrome or some browser is there. In that PDF we can see.
Now the PDF you are seeing, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, volume is low. Voice is not clear.
Yes, voice is very low, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Still low?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So give me 5 minutes. We will not hear like this because today from last 3-4 days I'm going out because Janmashtami is coming up. Here in Vijayawada, there are a lot of celebrations. Just now I came and I have to check my things. So give me 5 more minutes. I will put everything.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Then just chant Hare. Screen also?
Yes, Prabhuji, but the PDF.
PDF. PDF. So this is what we were discussing in the last class, 18 to 28, Vidura chastises Dhritarashtra. So before that, one verse I was showing. I will show the verse. So this is verse 17. Evam gruheshu shaktanam pramattanam tadihaya atyakramaad abhignataha kalaha paramadushtara. So this is spoken by Sutta Goswami, that insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcome you. Those who are insanely attached to family affairs are always engaged in their thought. So this is the conversation is going between the Yudhishthira Maharaj and Vidura. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling, glorifying Vidura, that you are a saintly person, you are the personification of holy places. Wherever you go, you convert them to holy places because you are always remembering the Lord. Like that. And then the description about Yudhishthira Maharaj comes, that Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with his brothers and family, is enjoying the life in the palace of Hastinapur. Right? And the next, this is the verse which comes. That so it appears that it is speaking, this verse is being spoken about Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is very peacefully, stably situated in the house, enjoying life. But actually this verse is indicated to Dhritarashtra, who is also there listening to Vidura conversation. And of course, those who are attached like Dhritarashtra. So therefore, this is the connection. From 18th verse, the influence of time upon those who are attached to the family and other things, the material world, that is being described from 18 to 28. Okay, so that we have seen the slides of Radhesham Prabhu. So once again, I will just go through it. Yeah. So in the 18th verse, she's telling Nirgamyatam Shigram. So the time is approaching. So please get out of this house immediately. Like that. Vidura is telling. So there is a conversation which is going on. I will show you the verses, and then we can go through a little bit purports also. Last time we did not see. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's conversation between Vidura and Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is happening actually. So in the 18th verse, so Yudhishthira Maharaj, Vidura is telling that the time is approaching. That time, which is for those who are attached materially, so which pulls them down, that time is fast approaching for you. So get out of your home immediately. Like that, Vidura is telling. So then with the next, our Dhritarashtra asks, is there any remedy for that? So then the next verse, 19th verse, Vidura is telling there is no remedy. Everybody has to surrender to this time. No remedy for the impending fear of death. So then Dhritarashtra says, oh, really? What are the effects of this time? What does this time does to us? Then, 20th verse, Vidura is telling time forces everyone to surrender everything. You have to surrender your life and everything connected with this body, like home, children, wife, family, your property, everything you have to surrender. Time snatches away everything. So that is Vidura telling. And then in the next verse, 21st verse, the Dhritarashtra may say that, oh, really, I'm attached to my body so much. How can I give it up? For that, Vidura is telling that, so why you are attached to this body? What you will do with this body? When there are no relatives for you to enjoy, everybody is dead and gone, your 100 sons are dead, your whole property, your whole kingdom is gone, you are living in another's home. So why you are attached to this body, useless body? Like that, our Vidura is inducing him. And from the 21st verse, if you see, now he is actually telling about the symptoms of the old days. So because he is attached to his body, right? So he is trying to very strongly come out of that attachment by speaking about the old days. From 21st verse, he speaks in 2-3 verses, like you are blind, you are deaf, your memory is shortened, you lost your teeth. So there we'll just go to the purport. It's a very nice purport. Till now, you understood the conversation happening between Dhritarashtra and Vidura. So that is spoken by our acharyas. Yeah, so we'll go to the 22nd verse. Because we did not see the purports, the nice purports are given by Prabhupada. So this is that verse. Andha puraiva vadiro manda pragnamscha sampratam vishirna danto mandagni saraga kafam buddha. So in the purport, you just read the yellow part.
The
Yes,
signs,
somebody-
Signs pointed. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Prabhuji.
the signs pointed out by Vidura in the body of Dhritarashtra were signs of apakshaya, or dwindling of the material body, before the last stroke of death.
Yeah, so these are called apaksha. So the material body dwindles for everyone. So that is being told. And read this part, last part.
Saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation, but they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society, and almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints, although they welcome show bottle sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses.
This is the thankless task of the saints. So they speak the truth openly, but unfortunate people, they don't heed to it. So when we hear these descriptions from 18th to 28th verse, it appears that actually why so much negativity is being spoken about the material world. Some people say that it is pessimism. Why are you speaking about negatively? Speak something positively, encourage. No, it's not pessimism, it's the reality. It's a reality of the world. When we understand the reality, then we can take measures to come out of that problem, right? So we can prepare for that, for the better future. We should not be like that ostrich putting the head in the ground, right? When there is some lion or tiger chasing, the ostrich is unable to run, it puts the head down and thinks that there is no one chasing behind. Just by putting the head in the ground, the tiger will not stop chasing. It will come and eat. So similarly, because you don't want to accept death old age, disease as realities, that doesn't mean that they will go away. So they will come. So therefore, it's actually the fortune that the scriptures speak about that openly, and sometimes the saintly persons speak these truths openly. Because then we know that we have to prepare the life. And we can actually take some steps now so that we can be happy in the future. So therefore, Vidura is trying to ignite that detachment in Dhritarashtra heart in two ways. Like first, we saw that he is describing the harsh reality of life, the old days he is describing, and also later part you will see that he is churning the Kshatriya spirit of Dhritarashtra by asking him not to live like a life of humiliation. Right? Later he says, "You are living like a dog in the house of your enemy, in the house of Bhima," like that. So we'll go to the next. Next verse he says, "Aho mahiyasi jantur jivitasha yata bhavam bhimapavajjitam pindam adatte gruhapalavat." So jivitasha, that means the desire, the hope for life is so great that one is ready to be humiliated also. One does not bother about his reputation also. That here Dhritarashtra is living at the house of his opponents like a dog. So this is a desire for life, desire to live. Okay, so there is one point here that more than the desire for sense gratification, the hope for sense gratification binds us more. So we have a desire for sense gratification, that is bad. But by sense gratification, I will be happy. So that is more binding actually. So here Dhritarashtra, he is in the house of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Even though he was old and everything he cannot enjoy also. But still he has that hope that I will be enjoying life, like Jivitasa. That's why here our Vidura is telling that Aho mahiyasi jantur jivitasaya bhava. How powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life? So these are the words of a sadhu. So read this yellow part.
A sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life so that they may come to their senses about the precarious life in material existence.
Yeah. Read this next yellow part.
To stick to family life up to the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation. And there is an absolute need for the Viduras to educate such Dhritarashtras even at the present moment.
So, yeah, we have different phases of life, right? Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So, this is designed in the Varnashrama system. So, one should follow that system like that. So, till the end of life, one should not just be sticking to one thing. Of course, Prabhupada gives in one purport, we'll see that. So, for a devotee is different thing. So, in general, it is being told. So this is the 26th verse. So where after speaking strongly, Vidura says that you become a dhira, become detached from all these bondage and go to the forest. So that is said in this. Okay. Yeah, read the yellow part.
This is, however, the path of renunciation based on a frustrated life. But stabilization of such renunciation is possible only by association with bona fide saint and self-realized soul, by which one can be engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Sincere surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord is possible by awakening the transcendental sense of service. This is made possible by association with pure devotee of the Lord.
So just becoming a dhira is not sufficient. After that, one has to become a devotee. Actually. So here Vidura is inducing Dhritarashtra to become a dhira because he is not yet ready to become a devotee because of Vaishnava aparadha, right? He has committed so much aparadha to Pandavas, who are pure devotees. Therefore, he is not yet ready to accept the devotional life. Therefore, Vidura is inspiring him to become a dhira, at least be detached from the family life and go to forest and be self-realized like that. So, and then 27th verse says that about Narottama, who is a first-class devotee. So, either by himself or by hearing from others, he will understand the falsity and misery of this material world and thus leaves home and depends fully on the personality of Godhead residing within the heart. So, Narottama, a devotee, he not only gives up the material world, but also he does a positive step. He take a positive step that he will surrender fully to the Lord, who is already there within the heart. So, very beautiful purport Prabhupada gives. We'll go to that. Yeah. Just read the first part. Before that, there are 3 classes of transcendentalists.
There are 3 classes of transcendentalists, namely the Dhir, or the one who is not disturbed by being away from family association. Number 2, one in the renounced order of life, a sannyasi by frustrated sentiment, and third, a sincere devotee of the Lord who awakens God consciousness by hearing and chanting and leaves home, depending completely
On the personality of Godhead.
On the personality of Godhead who resides in his heart.
Bas, I can stop. So, these 3 personalities whom Prabhupada is telling, anybody can guess? Who are these 3 classes of transcendentalists? A dhira, or one who is not disturbed by being away from family association. No, not Uttamadhikari had not yet come.
Prabhuji, the Gyanis and the yogis.
Carefully think, is this a Gyani or what about second then?
Second seems to be Gyani. Yes.
Yeah, second is Gnani. Because Gnani na 90, out of frustrated sentiments, they give up this material world. Because there is a Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mityam. Like that. So they very forcefully negate the material reality. The first one is a yogi, actually, who can, by his yogic asana, niyamas, pranayama, pratyaharas, actually he can be a dhira. He can be undisturbed. He is not agitated by material association. So that is a dhira. That means a yogi. And the second is a gnani. And the third one is a bhakta. Right? So these 3 are the transcendentalists. Because Dhritarashtra cannot become a devotee. No? So he is telling at least become a dhira. Or of course go to forest and meditate like that. Then, yeah, read this part. One may live in the darkest.
She may live in the darkest jungle alone out of home, but a steadfast devotee knows very well that he is not alone. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is with him and he can protect his sincere devotee in any awkward circumstance. One should therefore practice devotional service at home, hearing and chanting the holy name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, etc., in association with pure devotees. And this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose.
Okay. So amazing. You see, in the verse, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, get out of the home, go to forest.
They are connected here.
And now Prabhupada is telling in the purport, what is telling? One should therefore practice devotional service at home, hearing and chanting the holy names. And this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity. So it is like 180 degrees opposite instruction Prabhupada is giving. So why this is? Because Prabhupada is telling for his audience, all of us who have come to the devotional life, where Vidura is speaking about Dhritarashtra, who is not yet ready to become a devotee. So when Vidura is speaking to Dhritarashtra, he is speaking to him, at least come to one level of a Dhira, then maybe in future he will become a devotee. But already Prabhupada, he wants his audience, he wants them to practice devotional service. So therefore, why you need to go to forest? You be in city, wherever you are, nicely take to principles of devotional service and perfect your life. So therefore, devotional service, bhakti is unique. We cannot, it's not like a cut and paste process, like somebody, this will work. So therefore, same thing the other person also should do. So it's individual actually. Everybody has to follow the process tailor-made for him, right? So that's why it is said that bhakti is individual, spontaneous, and voluntary. So once Chaitanya Chandra was telling that these three are there. Bhakti is individual, every person is individual, it's voluntary, it's not forcefully done. If it is done forcefully, that is not bhakti. It should be spontaneously done, like that. So I'll just give an example. Like once Prabhupada disciple, Bhagavan Prabhu, when he was in West, so he came to Prabhupada and he was asking, Prabhupada, anything, any service I can do for you. Then Prabhupada told, okay, what you can do for Krishna? Then he again asked, Prabhupada, give me something which I can do for Krishna. Then Prabhupada again said that what you can do for Krishna. So like that 2-3 times Prabhupada repeated, what you can do for Krishna. Then actually after that Bhagavan Prabhu understood what Prabhupada is asking. Then he told that Prabhupada actually, I know how to make fiber mridangas. So I learned this art. Then Prabhupada told, yes, you can make fiber mridangas because these our Western devotees, they are very Rajoguna. They have a lot of Rajoguna. So they beat the mridangas very strongly and they break the mridangas, the clay ones. So if you make fiber mridangas, then it's good. So make it. Like that Prabhupada gave that instruction. So now why I'm telling this? See, Prabhupada could have said that, oh, okay, you want to do something for Krishna? Okay, do this. Do this. Prabhupada could have said. But of course, he could have done because Guru has told, but he might not have put his full heart like what now he will put. Because that is his nature, that is his liking. So therefore, bhakti is about that spirit. We have to bring out that spirit in people. So that voluntarily, what best they can offer with what they have, they offer that to the Lord, then actually they can grow fast. So that is the point. Therefore, we have to inspire people in that sense. Okay. Then he tells in the 28th verse, therefore leave to the north immediately, without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. So that time means the Kali Yuga is approaching. So immediately, without anybody's knowledge, go out. Like that. So, yeah. Read this yellow part.
Vidura advised his eldest brother to adopt this way without delay, because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching.
Yes. So what happens is, even we hear so many things, but immediately when we go in the outside world, immediately we forget the good instructions. That's why it is a Nityam Bhagavata Seva. Every day we have to remind ourselves. Every day there should be Bhagavatam class. Every day there should be discussion on Bhagavad Gita in the evening. And every day we need to chant our rounds, because the Kali Yuga is so powerful. So we will immediately forget the spiritual instructions. That's why Vidura thought that Dhritarashtra, now I spoke so strongly, and if he waits and Kali Yuga is approaching, he will forget all my instructions. Sab pani mein chale jayega mera jo bhi instructions. So therefore, sometimes we also go to donors. We ask donations. Like I was going to meet so many donors from past 4-5 days. So we ask them, please, sir, Janmashtami is coming. You have to contribute. You have to help us. We need a lot of help. And then they tell that, okay, you come later, we will give later. Kaun dekha hai? Your desire may go away also to give later. So we'll tell that if you now, sir, we have come to your place. Because on that desire, whenever that desire comes, we have to catch it. So if you wait for a good moment, it will never come. Even preaching also is like that only. Whenever somebody is inspired and the spark is there, we have to fan that spark. If you don't fan that spark at that time, then Kali Yuga will overtake. So that's the point which we can take from this. Okay. So till this 28th verse, that Vidura has instructed, then hearing those instructions, the Dhritarashtra immediately quits the place. So from 29th verse, we will discuss today. Evam Raja Vidurena Anujena Prajna Chakshubodhita Ajamida Chitva Shveshu Sneha Pashan Drudimno Nischakrama Bratru Sandarshitadva. Translation.
Yes,
Thus, Maharaj,
Go ahead, Prashant.
thus Maharaj Dhritarashtra, the scion of family of Ajamida, firmly convinced by introspective knowledge, Prajna, broke at once the strong network of familial affection by his resolute determination. Thus, he immediately left home to set out on the path of liberation, as directed by. So you can take up
His younger brother Vidura.
his younger brother Vidura.
Okay, so very amazingly, because of the strong words of strong preaching of Vidura, Dhritarashtra immediately left, contemplating on this. So Prabhupada gives his own life example. We can read from his words only. Yeah, read this part.
We are not ashamed to admit that this fact was experienced in our practical life, where we not favored by his divine grace, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, by our first meeting for a few minutes only. It would have been impossible for us to accept this mighty task of describing Srimad Bhagavatam in English. Without seeing him at that opportune moment, we could have become a very great business magnate, but never would we have been able to walk the path of liberation and be engaged in the factual service of the Lord under instructions of His divine grace.
So Prabhupada is remembering his own spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta, but because of his grace, I could give up my family life like that. And read this last.
It is a fact that the material world is a great illusion because everything appears to be a tangible reality, but at the same moment evaporates like the dashing foam of the sea or a cloud in the sky. A cloud in the sky undoubtedly appears to be reality because it rains, and due to rains, so due to its rains and due to rain, so many temporary green things appear. But in the ultimate issue, everything disappears, namely the cloud, rain, and green vegetation, all in due course. But the sky remains, and the varieties of sky are illuminaries, also remain forever. Similarly, the absolute truth, which is compared to the sky, remains eternally, and the temporary cloud-like illusion comes and goes away. Foolish living beings are attracted by the temporary cloud, but intelligent men are more concerned with the eternal sky with all its variegatedness.
So, in this purport, so we can see how the talk of Vidura is making Dhritarashtra to contemplate about the temporary nature of this world and then ultimately give up this material world, the attachment to this material world. So Radhishampur gives a title that the Sadhu Sangha will make Mohabhanga. So that means the illusion will be destroyed. So this is the power of Sadhu, and Prabhupada is giving the example of his own spiritual master, how he broke his illusion. Of course, Prabhupada is a Nityasiddha devotee. The humility is saying. Like we can see in the example of Prabhupada only, when he met Alfred Ford, the ISKCON company owner. So what is the first thing he told to Alfred Ford when he met? Anybody?
Where is your grandfather?
Where is Henry Ford?
Yes, where is your grandfather Henry Ford? Just one statement only. And that shook Alfred Ford to the core. Immediately he surrendered and dedicated to Prabhupada. Because my grandfather is a big man. He is the one who has started this ISKCON. Now he's not there. So how temporary and shallow this world is like that. That realization he got that just by one statement of Prabhupada. So that's the power of a sadhu. He can, with his association and with one statement, he can break through that layers and layers, thick layers of illusion. So similarly, Vidura also was playing that role. And Prabhupada also tells the story of liquid beauty, right? The story of liquid beauty, how the beauty of this world is so temporary. And Dhritarashtra here, he left not sentimentally, but after contemplation, prajna. So that word is used in the verse. So contemplation, yeah, he left the kingdom. So, therefore, one should see by Shastra Chakshu. Whatever the reality of this world, that is ever changing. So nothing is constant in this world. The only thing constant is a change. Right. So we, if any of you read this Journey Home book, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he writes when he was meditating on the banks of Ganges, he was sitting on the rock in the middle of the Ganges. So he was meditating on the water that is flowing, the swift current that is flowing. He was just seeing, and everything is just washed away. And the waves, the wave that which he is seeing now, in the Ganges, in the next moment that wave goes away. That pattern goes away. That means every moment there is a new current of Ganges. So then he gets a realization that the life is also like that. So every moment the life keeps changing. Nothing is permanent. So many lessons he writes there, what he has learned from the Ganges. So that maybe that section you can read later. So very inspiring. So that by therefore contemplating on the temporary nature of this world, like Prabhupada is giving an example of cloud in the sky. It's temporary, but the sky is permanent. The cloud gives the rain. There is a lot of vegetation. There are a lot of fruits, right? But everything gets wiped out over the period of time. Either the cloud is there, only the sky remains. Similarly, this world keeps on appearing. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Right? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Time and again this gets manifested. And again it gets bound up and manifested. So the problems are going to be there in this world till the time Mahavishnu again inhales. Right? People say, oh, I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem. What is the solution? The solution is when Mahavishnu inhales. So everything gets again bound up into his body. That is the solution. Till that time, there is no solution. All other solutions are temporary only. So the only solution is you chant Hare Krishna, read Bhagavad Gita, and go back to body. So that after contemplating Dhritarashtra, he left to the forest. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. Patim prayantam subalasya putri pativrata chanujagama sadhi Himalayam nastadanda praharsham manasvinam iva satsamprahara.
The gentle and chaste Gandhari, who was the daughter of King Subala of Gandhar, followed her husband, seeing that he was going to Himalaya mountains, which are the delight of those who have accepted the of renounced order, like fighters who have accepted a good lashing from the enemy.
Yeah. So a very nice verse. Sadhvi, Pativrata Chana Jagama Sadhvi. See here, when Dhritarashtra left, immediately his wife, good wife, Gandhari also left to the forest. Dhritarashtra even did not ask Gandhari to come with her. He just left. Such kind of detachment was sown in his heart by Vidura, that even he did not ask his wife also, he did not see her also, immediately left. But Gandhari, being a chaste lady, she followed, just like Mother Sita followed Lord Ram. So Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad, the Sadhvi, is a very chaste lady. So this is a training which was given in Vedic life, that women are taught in chastity and men are taught in brahmacharya. So this was a training that was given. So men are good, women are also good. But the problem is when they both mix freely without proper training, so then comes the problem. So that's how the problems in Kali Yuga is. So without proper maturity, without proper training, they are allowed to mix freely. That's very, very harmful. So therefore, this training is very important for men. Every man actually, even if they are going to get married, they should be trained in brahmacharya initially. And then every woman should be trained in chastity, how to be faithful to the husband. Right? Because just by being faithful, a woman derives 50% of the spiritual credits of what husband gets without doing anything. Like Kardama and Devahuti section we can see. Just by serving Kardamuni, Devahuti got all those benefits. Of course, the husband also should be like that caliber. So both sides should be ideal examples. And that's what you also see, right? We read the previous chapters, Hastinapur ladies, they were on the top of the palaces. When Krishna was leaving, they were coming and showering flowers. And also when he entered Dwaraka, there also we see the ladies from the top of the palace. That means what? There is no free mixing. The women used to stay separately. There used to be an Anganwadi inside, and there is Baharwadi. The men used to mix outside and they are freely in businesses, but the women were never mixing freely with the men. So that's actually culture, the healthy culture. But unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, we can't avoid this, but at least we should understand the principle. And one more point Prabhupada is telling in this verse, Himalayam Nesta Danda Praharsha. That means the mountains, Himalayan mountains, they are delightful for the saffron devotees, or for the devotees who have taken the danda, the renunciates, we can say. And the analogy is given just like when a fighter gets a good lashing by the opponent, he relishes it, he cherishes it. Similarly, for a renounced person, taking hardships is pleasurable actually. That's the point. So that means what? A person who is trying to practice spirituality, so he should be very happy to take hardships. You should take pleasure in taking hardships. You should not feel morose. अरे अभी मैं एकादशी आ रहे फास्टिंग करना पड़ेगा क्या, जन्माष्टमी आ रहे रात को 12 बजे तक फास्टिंग करना है. मतलब we should not be feeling troubled to take small hardships. We should be very happy to take them. So that is very healthy for spiritual progress. Like we were hearing one class at that, in those days, Gaur Krishna Maharaj came once to Pune, Sriling. एक ब्रह्मचारी को ये नहीं सोचना है कि सुबह उठ के गर्म पानी के लिए ढूंढना नहीं चाहिए. तो गर्म पानी है तो ठीक है, गर्म पानी नहीं तो ठंडा पानी से नहाओ, चलो मंगल आरती. So one should not be attached to cozy life, but one should be ready to take hardships, especially a spiritual practitioner. So that is told here. Read this yellow part.
There are two types of sannyasis: those who follow the Mayavadi philosophy headed by Sripad Shankaracharya, accept only one rod, Ekadanda. But those who follow the Vaishnavite philosophy accept 3 combined rods, Tridanda. The Mayavadi sannyasis are known as Ekadandi Swamis, whereas the Vaishnavas sannyasis are known as Tridandi Swamis, or more distinctly, Tridandi Goswamis, in order to be distinguished from the Mayavadi philosophers. The Ekadandi Swamis are mostly fond of the Himalayas, but the Vaishnava sannyasis are fond of Vrindavan and Puri. The Vaishnava sannyasis are Narottamas, whereas the Mayavadi sannyasis are Dhiras. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was advised to follow the Dhiras because at that stage it was difficult for him to become a Narottama.
Yeah. Why difficult? Because he was an offender at the feet of Pandavas. So we'll go to the next verse. Just directly read the translation.
Maharaj Yudhishthira, whose enemy was never born, performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering fire sacrifice, worshipping the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cows, land, and gold to the Brahmanas. He then entered the palace to pay respects to the elderly. However, he could not find his uncles or aunt, the daughter of the king Subala.
Yeah. So, hearing Vidura's words, they left, both them. Dhritarashtra left, Gandhari also left, of course Vidura also left. So now with Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was doing his daily duties. And after the daily morning duties, he came to see his elderly father and mother. They were not there. So see the beauty of the culture, like we see this in the Bhagavad Gita, austerity of body. There it comes that one should pay obeisances to the elderly people. One should pay obeisances to the altar, sacrifice of fire, like that. So all those things now Vishnu Maharaj is doing here. Prabhupada gives a nice purport. Yeah, read this part.
The householders are required to rise early in the morning, and after bathing, they should offer respects to the deities at home by prayers, by offering fuel in the sacred fire, by giving the Brahmanas in charity land, cows, grains, gold, etc. And at last offering to the elderly members due respects and obeisances. One who is not prepared to practice injunctions prescribed in the Shastras cannot be a good man simply by book knowledge. Modern householders are practiced to different modes of life, namely to rise late and then take bed tea without any sort of cleanliness and without any purificatory practices as mentioned above. The household children are taken to practice what the parents practice. Therefore, the whole generation glides towards hell. Nothing good can be expected from them unless they associate with sadhus. Like Dhritarashtra, the materialistic person may take lessons from a sadhu like Vidura and thus be cleansed of the effects of modern life.
So, yeah, good instructions for the householders. Prabhupada is telling that they should rise early, attend morning Mangalarti, and give that culture and training to the children also. Because the modern day children, they just follow the parents, and the parents are also not following any culture. Therefore, they become more degraded. Like, so therefore, it's very important duty of a householder. What is that? What all Prabhupada has spoken in this purport. Because Prabhupada is telling that unless the children in the house see that the family members, the superiors are following these things, they will not take them seriously. Like, we are not chanting properly, so how can we expect them to chant? Sitting at one place attentively. Because they learn more by what we are doing. What we'll speak, that may not register to them. Then what is our behavior in home? So therefore, we are being observed by them. So we should be very alert. So we have to teach by example. Sometimes we can speak, but we should speak by our actions. So especially, it's very, very important responsibility. So we want to make the whole world devotees, but our own family members, if they don't become devotees, then what is the point? So very important instruction Prabhupada is telling that how, by our own example, we inspire the children also. Like that. So of course, we can inspire them, we cannot force them. We can teach them. In future, they may get, when they're in the young age, they may get again distracted by the current of the world, but they will again come back because the training will never go waste. So once I was hearing my Guru Maharaj saying about this, that initial training that they received in the youth, they may get distracted. But when the Maya kicks them, then they again run back to you. So that will happen. So therefore, we should do our duty, giving good example to them with our own behavior, and then give them that freedom and wait for Maya to act and Krishna to act. Both will act. Maya will give kick and Krishna will give that shelter. So we wait for that. We don't force people, because it's not by our own forceful preaching that people will become devotees. So we have to set a good example. Of course, we have to speak from the Shastra, but we cannot force. We have to wait for the material nature also to act, and Krishna also to show his mercy. Like we have an example of Srila Prabhupada. So he used to tell in that Leelamrita that how he saw his father Gaur Mohan early morning rising from the bed. So he will take bath and perform Mangalarti. He used to ring his bell and rotate the doot before the altar. And Prabhupada saw this in the childhood and he was deeply moved by that, his father's devotion. Prabhupada also very frankly admitted that I was influenced by two people in my life. One, my father, and one is my spiritual master. Like that. So he got the training from his father. So very important that we train our children by setting an example ourselves. There's a verse by Rishabdev also. Pita na shashat, janani na shashat, daivam na shashat. You cannot become a father. You cannot be called as a father. You cannot be called as a mother. So unless you are in a position to deliver them from the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, there are so many mothers and fathers in every life. But the specialty is that if we can make them, at least we can give them that facility where they can practice perfect life, then it's wonderful. So we'll go to the next verse. Translation.
Maharaj Yudhishthir, full of anxiety, turned to Sanjay, who was sitting there, and said, "O Sanjaya, where is our uncle? He is old and blind."
Let's read this also.
Hare Krishna. Where is my well-wisher uncle Vidura and mother Gandhari, who is well afflicted due to her son's demise? My uncle Dhritarashtra was also very mortified due to the death of his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he therefore take the offenses very seriously and along with his wife drown himself in the Ganga?
So he's asking Sanjaya that what happened to your boss. Sanjaya is a faithful servant of Dhritarashtra, right? Asking him. And he's thinking whether they have drowned themselves in Ganges because I did not take care of them properly. So see the consciousness of Yudhishthira Maharaj, such a noble soul, that he was thinking, did I do something wrong or something disrespectful that my uncle and aunt have left? He's a Uttamadhikari, a pure devotee. How he thinks. Always sees fault in himself only. And the word used in the verse is Ajata Shatru. You see, go to the verse. Previous sloka it is. Ajata Shatru means Yudhishthira Maharaj has no person born who is an enemy to him. Ajata Shatru. He is friendly to everyone. So therefore, he is finding fault with him only. Yeah, read this part.
As a pious man, Maharaja Yudhishthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. Dhritarashtra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord, but the Maharaja Yudhishthira was thinking only of his own unavoidable misdeeds. That is the nature of good man and devotee of the Lord. A devotee never finds fault with others, but tries to find out own and thus rectify them as far as possible.
So this is a devotee who always finds fault with himself and tries to improve. Like there are four kinds of people. The vision, four kinds of vision we can say. So one person, the first person, he sees only the fault in others. Like the person may have some good and some fault, but this person only sees fault. He cannot see anything good in others. This is one kind of person. The second person, he sees the good, he sees the fault also, but he focuses only on the fault. This is second person. At least he sees good in others, but only he focuses on the fault. And the third person is, he sees good and bad, but he focuses on good. Even though there is fault, he focuses on good and encourages them. And the fourth person is, he only focuses on good, or he only sees good. He can't see any fault in others. That is fourth kind of person. There are four visions. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is in which category? First, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fourth category.
Yes, he is only seeing good in others and finding fault with himself. So that is the vision of Uttamadhikari. And certainly we are not in the fourth category, right? And we should not be in the first category also, at least. Right? The remaining kya hai? Second and third. So we may be in one of these categories. So at least we should come from the second category to third category. That is, we may see faults in others, but we try to focus on the good in others. Because everybody has fault. Who is there who doesn't have any fault? Kale Tosha Nidhe Kaliga means ocean of faults. So it's not great to see fault, but it's great if we can overlook that fault and just fan the good in others. That's how we can actually make people into devotees, if we have this quality. So we can take that inspiration from Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yeah. Actually, once Yudhishthira Maharaj, I think he was asked, you can go into the city, country, kingdom, and see if somebody is lower than you. And Yudhishthira Maharaj went out and he searched the whole kingdom and he could not find a single person who is lower than him. On the other hand, Duryodhana was also sent out. You go and find at least one person who is better than him. The reverse question. And Duryodhana also could not find anyone better than him throughout the kingdom. So this is, you can see the different visions of people. The first and fourth vision. Yeah. Okay, go to the next verse. Read translation.
When my father Pandu fell down and we were all small children, these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. They were always good, our good well-wishers. Alas, where have they gone from here?
Yeah, now he's remembering what all good things Dhritarashtra has done for them. Like that. Now Suta Goswami is speaking. Read.
Suta Goswami said,
Suta Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjay, not having seen his own master Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Yeah. So Sanjay could not speak only. Yeah. See, such a faithful servant of Dhritarashtra, Sanjay was so dedicated. And even though he was so honest servant, Dhritarashtra could not reveal the truth to him also, Sanjay also. He immediately left without telling anyone anything. Yeah, read this part about Sanjay.
He was fully compassionate towards Dhritarashtra because in the game of the battle of Kurukshetra, King Dhritarashtra had lost everything, men and money, and at last the king and the queen had to leave home in utter frustration. He studied the situation in his own way because he did not know that the inner vision of Dhritarashtra had been awakened by Vidura, and that therefore he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness, a better life after departure from the dark veil of home.
Yeah. So Sanjay was not aware of this, that his inner spiritual this spark was ignited by Vidura. He thought that out of frustration after losing his sons, Dhritarashtra was shrunken and he left the home. So therefore he was lamenting Sanjay, but he was not knowing this thing. It's a very nice statement. Prabhupada is stating that last two lines. Vidura, therefore, he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness for a better life after departure from the dark well of. So, when can one keep his renunciation, or when can one stick to his vow of renunciation or vow of spiritual vows? Like somebody is initiated, when can he stick to these vows of following four regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, and practicing bhakti? So the key is that one should be about the future. One should be cheerful about the future better life. If one is confident or one is convinced about the future better life, then can easily stick to the vow of renunciation, like that. Just a minute. You want to take it down. So there is Ardha Pravritti and there is Anardha Nivritti. So Ardha Pravritti means the positive thing. So the higher taste you get in devotional life. And Anardha Nivritti means there are so much conditionings you have that also pull us down, right? So especially for a renunciate and any sadhaka, we should get that higher taste or good experience in bhakti, positive experience in bhakti. That will actually make us confident or give us strength to practice every day, like that. Otherwise, without getting that higher taste or without being convinced of the future better life, we will become succumb to Maya or worldly pleasures. Because how long we can say no to Maya? Say nice pictures are alluring you when you go outside, the movie is alluring you, the eatables are alluring you. So you keep on saying no, 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 no. How long you can say no? Your energy gets sucked. So we should learn to say yes to Krishna. So than saying always no to Maya. Of course, we should say no to Maya, but simultaneously we should learn to say yes to Krishna. That means what? We should regularly practice devotional service on a daily basis, like chanting our rounds, going to temple, meeting devotees, right? Seeing the deities, beautiful darshan, their dress, or doing some service, cooking or making garlands. So this is Ardha Pravritti. So by this practice of devotional service, we get some higher taste, but keeps us free from the allurements of Maya. And also, we go for Bhagavatam, or like you are all coming weekends to hear Bhagavatam. So very important to have regular hearing about one's own good fortune and associating with those who are fully convinced of their good fortune. Like recently, Kadambakanand Swami Maharaj, he has left this planet, right? So there is a video, maybe you can watch. And the last days, he spoke something that maybe I will play for a few minutes. Let me see. Also, there is a description in the 3rd canto, 15th chapter, the description of the spiritual world. How the spiritual atmosphere, the spiritual people, right? The Vaikuntha women, the Vaikuntha men, the Vaikuntha birds. All those descriptions is given in the 15th chapter of 3rd canto. So when we read such things, when we hear about the spiritual world, Chintamani Prakrasatma Shukalpa Vriksha Laksha Udeshu Surati Ravipalayantam. Right? Every stone is a gem there, Chintamani gem, touchstone. Right? There is no dust in spiritual world. There is no old age, there is no disease, there is no death. Every step is a dance, every word is a song, right? So only merrymaking that goes in spiritual world. Krishna gets up in the morning, takes cows with his friends, goes to the pasturing grounds, whole day playing, right? So this is actually the ideal, right? We are all looking for that. The Jiva is looking for that atmosphere, which unfortunately he cannot get in this world. So therefore, when we hear those descriptions from, especially from pure devotees, great souls, actually that goes deep, that touches our heart, of our heart, then convinces us also. And then we can go along in the midst of these alluring elements. Right? I'll just find out that video, try to play. Give me 2 minutes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Stay on the spot. Thick and thin.
You're able to hear?
When all is blissful, when all is struggle,
Yes, Prabhuji.
do not waver.
Yes.
It is. You got the greatest treasure. Never forget. Nowhere in this world is there such wealth. The wealthiest man in the world is a pauper. You have the real wealth. Treasure it. Relish it. Cherish it. Hold it close. Hold it. Don't become slack, neglectful. Hold it close. Chant every day. Hear every day. Carve these principles in stone. Let them be there every day. And your life will be wonderful. And at the end, go back to Godhead, and we can physically reunite and celebrate there like we've never celebrated before. So looking forward to the great, great festival that is to come, where all of us will together and celebrate to another dimension. Bliss will rise to levels never seen, never heard of. That time is not far away. Life is short. Prabhupada said, just give this one life to me. Please do that. Just give it. And everything will become most amazing. I'm saying goodbye to you for just a short time. For when we will be, I'll stay with you in my words and memories. I'll be with you on the path. and I'm waiting for you on the other end to meet you again in person. Soon, soon, miracles will happen. Soon, we will see love. We will see bliss. We will see fulfillment beyond our imagination, beyond our expectation. Remember Dhruva, when he met the Lord, all his previous expectations, he said, they're like broken pieces of glass. You gave me jewels. All we ever desired were broken pieces of glass. The Lord will give us jewels. Oh, stay on the path. Don't get lost. Come quickly. Let us join this festival of Krishna, the festival of unlimited, ever-growing love. Thank you.
Okay, so when we hear from such great souls, even though it's short time, immediately we can get surcharged with positive vibrations, and we get a lot of strength to overcome the allurements. So we'll go to the next verse. Thirty-sixth translation.
Hare Krishna. First is glory.
First, he slowly pacified. First, he slowly pacified his mind by intelligence, and wiping away his tears and thinking of the feet of his master, Dhritarashtra, he began to reply to Maharaja Yudhishthira.
So this is the description about Dhritarashtra, how he left the body, that is described from this verse. When he went to the forest, what happened exactly? So that is described in these verses. Okay, this is this is about Sanjaya.
Sanjaya.
Yeah, this is about Sanjaya. That thinking about his master, he was weeping, and then he restrained, started speaking to reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Sanjaya Uvacha Naham Veda Vyavashitam Pitrorvah Kulanandana Gandharya Mahabaho Mushitosmi Mahatmabhi. So this word is very important. Mushitosmi Mahatmabhi. They have cheated me. Without telling me, they have left.
Sanjaya said, my dear descendant of the Kuru dynasty, I have no information of the determination of your two uncles and Gandhari. O king, I have been cheated by those great souls.
Great souls cheat for a great cause. That's what Prabhupada says here. Starts the purport like that. Great soul cheats others, may be astonishing to know, but the fact that great soul cheats others for a great cause. Even Krishna advised Yudhishthira to tell lies to Dronacharya, but that is for a great cause. The Lord wanted it, therefore it was a great cause. Satisfaction of the Lord is the criteria of what is bona fide, and the highest perfection of life is to satisfy the Lord by our occupational duty. So what is good or what is bad, we should not estimate from our limited thinking. But from the Lord's perspective, what is good? If Lord likes it, Lord wants it, pleases the Lord, then we should be ready to do it, even though from the worldly point of view, it may be something wrong or bad. So that is actually surrender. Here Dhritarashtra, without telling to Sanjay, because Sanjay is a very intimate well-wisher and servant of Dhritarashtra, and nothing is a secret to Sanjaya in Dhritarashtra's life. But now, without telling him also, he left. That means it's such a urgency. Yes, it's about his own life. That without consulting him, only left. So therefore, he thought that he felt that Dhritarashtra has cheated me and left. Like that. Okay. Read this yellow part.
To satisfy the Lord, anything is good, for it is in relation with the absolute truth. We also had the same opportunity to cheat the family members and leave home to engage in the service of Srimad Bhagavatam. Such cheating was necessary for a great cause, and there is no loss for any party in such transcendental fraud.
Yeah. So this is transcendental cheating. And Prabhupada is telling such cheating is required and it is beneficial for every party involved. Somebody may feel that I am cheated, like here Sanjay is feeling that I am cheated by Vidura. So for Vidura, by Dhritarashtra. For Dhritarashtra also it is good that without telling Sanjay is left, and for Sanjay also it is good. So that kind of cheating is required. Prabhupada is giving his own example, that how he left home. When his wife said that, when Prabhupada said to his wife, you want me tea or me? Because she showed the Bhagavatam for the tea biscuits. And Prabhupada became very upset. Wife told that I want tea, jokingly. And Prabhupada said, I think this is the time I have to leave the house. Without telling he left. So the great souls cheat for the great cause. We have many examples from the scriptures also, like how great souls cheated. Like we have example of Shankaracharya taking sannyas. So he told his parents that I am going to take sannyas. The mother was crying. She's not alone. Then Shankaracharya, he went to the pond and by his mystic power, he made a crocodile catch his leg. And he was telling, oh, crocodile is eating my leg. You say, yes. Otherwise, this will eat it. You say, you agree to my proposal that I will take sannyas. Otherwise, the crocodile is eating. And mother gives blessings. Okay, you take sannyas. So then the crocodile immediately leaves the leg. So this is Shankaracharya cheating his mother. All right. Sometimes even we tell the boys, we preach in the colleges, so to tell lies to the parents that they have to take training 1 year, the ashram, and then they can again come back and take up job and like that. So this is a transcendental cheating, because otherwise if they tell that I am going to temple, right, I will dedicate my life, so who will agree? Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother did not agree, even though is the mother of the Lord, right? So therefore, sometimes we may have to cheat, but we have to see whether it is in line with the Lord's desire. If it is in line with the Lord's desire, then it's okay. Like Acharyas all wanted this, that there should be some section of people who will totally dedicate their life for the propagation of this mission. The Acharya wanted. So therefore, it's in line with their desire. Therefore, we are not having anything upon our own sense gratification, like that. And we have blessings of superiors, like that. And also we have another example of Tirumangaya Alvar from South India, Tamil Nadu. There is one Alvar, I don't know his name is correct. If I am wrong, please correct me. So he engaged dacoits also in building Srirangam temple in South India. So the Srirangam temple you all saw, some of you might have seen. It's a very huge temple. So a lot of money is required. He engaged in dacoits to build a temple. Later, of course, he transcendentally made them also get killed in that. But who can do this? So only somebody who is under the guidance of superiors, he can do such things with blessings. Otherwise, we think that I am also qualified to cheat others in the name of benefiting others, and we may harm us. Like mother also sometimes give medicine to the children. Huh? So children are not ready to take medicine. The mother adds some sweet, the bitter medicine with lollipop, or eat this better, like this. So great souls cheat for the great cause. Next verse. Ata jagama bhagavan narada sahatumbur pratyuttaya vivadaya sanuchoggarat abhyarchayam munim.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. While Sanjaya was thus speaking, Sri Narada, the powerful devotee of the Lord, appeared on the scene carrying his tumburu. Maharaja Yudhishthir and his brothers received him properly by getting up from their seat and offering obeisances.
Then spoke as follows. So when the conversation is happening, when Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting, where my uncle has gone, and Sanjay is also lamenting, at that scene, Narada has appeared along with his tumbura. And he was received very in a well manner by the Pandavas and Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yellow part, please read.
The Lord and his confidential devotee.
Somebody is speaking.
The Lord and his confidential. Prabhuji.
Maybe Anush Prabhu has to mute others.
Prabhuji, it is coming from the background noise from Mataji side only.
Oh, really? Yeah. Maybe somebody else can speak then.
The Lord and his very confidential devotees are treated on the same level by those who are actually engaged in the loving service of the Lord. Such confidential devotees of the Lord are very much dear to the Lord because they travel everywhere to preach the glories of the Lord in different capacities and try their utmost to convert the non-devotees of the Lord into devotees in order to bring them to the platform of sanity.
So, great souls, they are roaming all over the world to convert the non-devotees into devotees. Like here, the example of Narada Muni came when Sanjay and Yudhishthira were lamenting. So he appeared there to relieve their lamentation. So these are the confidential devotees. They're very dear to the Lord because their mission is the mission of Lord. The Lord's mission is to convert non-devotees into devotees. The confidential devotees, they are also in line with the desire of the Lord. Right? So, therefore, here Narada Muni is also addressed as Bhagavan. Why? Because he is on an equal level with Lord, being a confidential devotee of Lord. Even later verses also 2-3 times it comes Bhagavan, Bhagavan. Because the Lord representative should be given same respect as the Lord. Like once Srila Prabhupada was, I told it, was going in a limousine car, and the reporter was asking, what do you feel about this respect given by your disciples that they have given such a costly car to you for you to travel? And Prabhupada told, what is this? It's a tin car made of steel and iron. I deserve a golden car because I am a representative of God. Prabhupada never hesitated to speak like that because he is not speaking on his terms. But that's how the pure devotee, the representative of Lord, should be treated on equal level with Lord, because they have a very confidential mission to convert non-devotees into devotees. So there are two purports. I will tell the verses, maybe you can read later, we don't have time. So this is 1.2.16, verse number, that verse, and also 1.1.15. These two verses, Prabhupada says same thing, how the confidential devotees of the Lord should be served. So that is spoken there. And preaching is a very confidential service. Nikunjayono Ratikeli Siddhe. That samsara Guru Ashtakam we sing in the 6th stanza, right? Nikunjayono Ratikeli Siddhe. Yayale Devyuktirapekshaniyya. Tatrati Daksha Rativallabhasya. Vande Guru Sri Charanam Ravindam. So the very confidential pastimes of Lord, and the spiritual master helps them in such confidential pastimes of the Lord. So here one may think that confidential pastimes in the Radha Krishna pastimes in the Nikunja, and Prabhupada gives a very practical answer that going out for book distribution is also helping in the confidential pastimes of the Lord. Right, preaching, therefore, it's a thankless service actually, preaching. Preaching doesn't mean just forefront service, just giving lecture. That is one aspect of preaching. But taking that responsibility on behalf of our acharyas, that we try to give this message to at least few people and take responsibility of their lives so that they can become devotees. So this is a very confidential service, because the Lord, the purpose of whole creation is that to make people into devotees. That's why the whole Bhutva Praliyate, the whole time cycle is there, just to make people into devotees. That is a headache of the Lord. We can, of course, Lord is Atmaram, but he also has that anxiety. We have to become a Shubhachintak, like to the Lord. So, how? By taking his headache, by taking the headache of Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas, now Gurus, right? They have taken a lot of headache for us. So we have to take some little headache somehow to inject this message into conditioned soul, and at least make one person favorable towards Krishna consciousness. It's a great responsibility. And Srila Prabhupada will be very happy, and the Acharyas will be very happy if we do this service in any capacity, whatever capacity. So, next verse. Like practically, we can have programs in our houses, right? Whatever that we can sort out how we can do it. And we can do, if we cannot hold programs in our house, at least we can do some economic strength so that the program can go on. Like for prasadam, we can contribute. I like that. So all of us will come together and very systematically propagate this message. Next verse, Yudhishthira Vacha. Naham vedagatim pitror bhagavan putatavita ambavahata putrata kvagata chatapasvini. Please read.
Maharaj Yudhishthira said, "O godly personality, I do not know where my two uncles have gone, nor can I find my ascetic aunt, who is grief-stricken by the loss of all her sons."
So Yudhishthira Maharaj is revealing his heart to Narada Muni, why he is lamenting. Next verse. Karnadara ivapare Bhagavan Paradarshakaha Atapabase Bhagavan Narado Munisatama.
You are like a captain of a ship.
Captain of the ship to the great ocean, and you can direct us to our destination. Thus addressed the godly community, Devarsi Narada, greatest of the philosophers, devotees, began to speak.
So here Yudhishthira Maharaj is giving that confidence to Narada Muni before telling this problem. He's also giving that confidence to Narada Muni that I have faith in you. That Yudhishthira Maharaj is glorifying Narada. You are a captain of a ship in a great ocean. That I have confidence in you that you can give the solution. Similar thing you will find in Narada Vyasa Samvada also. There also Vyasadeva, he was despondent. And when Narada Muni comes, he will glorify Narada Muni. You are like a sun who can go to the innermost places, can penetrate into my heart and understand the problem and give a solution. Like this is like between the counselor and counselee. So the counselee should have that confidence in the counselor, and also you should express that confidence that I have full confidence in you that you can solve the problem. So you should tell the problem also. You should express that confidence also in superior, and we should be ready to listen the solution and apply it. So this is how the dealings between counselor and counselor should happen. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking after expressing that confidence, and then Narada Muni speaks. What happened? Narada Uvacha Ma Kanchana is mean don't lament. Unnecessarily, O Raja, Ma Kanchana Sucho Rajan. Yadishwara Vasham Jagat Loka Sapala Yasheme Vahanti Padinishiti Samsamyukti Bhuntani Sayeva Vimticha.
Sri Narada said, O pious king, do not lament for anyone, for everyone is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them.
So from this verse, from the 41st verse to the 50th verse, so Narada Muni philosophically dispels Yudhishthira's illusion. Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting that, oh, my aunt and uncle, without telling me they have gone, how they will live, where they will live, who will protect them. So Narada Muni philosophically dispels that in next 10 verses. What is the link? So here, last verse, if you see, Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting. And now Narada is telling, don't lament. So this is how Narada is trying to appease Yudhishthira Maharaj. And he tells that separation cannot be prevented because it is administered by Supreme Lord. Some people meet together, and after some time they will disperse. This is all administered by the Supreme Lord. You cannot avoid the separation. Therefore, don't lament. Like that, the solution is being given. Yeah. The important word here is Yad Ishvara Vasham Jagat Loka Sapala. Under the control of the Supreme Lord, the whole world is running. So everyone along with the planets and the leaders, everybody is controlled by the Lord. No one is independent in this. Prabhupada writes in the purport. I think we'll read that better. Read this part.
Nobody can violate the order of the Supreme Lord or his authorized agents, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, or in modern history, Napoleon, Akbar, Alexander, Gandhi, Subhash, and Nehru. All are servants of the Lord, and they are placed in and removed from their respective positions by the supreme will of the Lord. None of them is independent. Even though such men or leaders rebel as not to recognize the supremacy of the Lord, they are put under still more rigorous laws of the material world by different miseries.
Yes. So no one is independent. Even the leaders of this world, they are being placed and they're being removed by the Lord only. So many leaders we have seen, they come, they go, right? Right from the starting to Prabhupada listed so many leaders. So they come, they think that they're independent, they do some rule, and then they are removed by the Lord. Similarly, so don't think you can protect your uncle, aunt. It's all by Lord's arrangement. So we come together and we separate. So don't lament for that. That is Nagam telling. Everybody is under the control of the Lord. Edishwara Vasham Jagat. So I'm remembering one song, Bhaktivedanta sings. Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Vrajendra Kumara Tumara Ichaya Sarva Sujana Samhara. So even the creation, the annihilation, everything is happening by your desire, O Lord. Tumi Sarveshwareshwara, the control of all controllers, Vrajendra Kumara. So there are very nice verses come later also. Tumara Ichaya Mata Brahma Karena Sujana. By your desire, Lord Brahma is creating. By your desire, Lord Shiva is destroying. By your desire, Lord Vishnu is maintaining. So all those things come. It's a very beautiful song. The essence is given. Like even we sing that in Jagannath Ashtami it comes. Rama Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganesha Chita Pado Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu. All these great demigods, Rama, Mother Parvati, Shambhu, Lord Shiva, Brahma, Amarapati, Indra, Ganesha, they're all worshipping your lotus feet. They're all following your orders. In so many places it comes to Bhagavad. All these demigods are tiny servants of the Lord. They're placed and they're replaced by the Lord. So, therefore, you don't worry about the happenings of this world. It's the Lord only who brings us together at this process. This is spoken by Vasudeva to Nanda Maharaj. The conversation, 10th canto, 5th chapter, it comes when Nanda Maharaj goes to pay taxes to Kamsa. He meets Vasudeva confidentially. And then they talk, this comes that we come together, after some time we go away. So that verse, anybody remembers how it starts? Anyways, so the point is that he says that we come together. Yogena Yudamanam Plavanam Shota Soyeta. Naikatra Priya Samvasa. Sudam, like that it comes. 10:5:25. Yeah, this verse. So sometimes we, those people will come together and then we have to disperse by the will of the Lord. Even Hiranyakashipu tells to his relatives, his mother-in-law, when Hiranyaksha was killed by the Lord, don't lament. He gives a DY session. There he tells that we are souls, we come together in a hotel to eat or drink together and then we disperse. So we should not lament for the gone people like that he tells. So this is all happening by the will of the Lord. Then next verse. Next two verses, he gives two examples to quote how the Lord is the supreme controller. Yatagavo na shiprotas tantyam baddascha damadi vak tantyam nama dilpatta vahanti padinishitu.
As a cow bound through the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are bound by different Vedic injunctions and are conditioned to obey the orders of the Supreme.
So this is one example given. How the Lord is controlling everyone, just like a cow is tied to the nose. by a small rope, and then again it is tied by a long rope to some pillar. So the two ropes are there, one that goes to the nose and one long rope that goes to the pillar. Like that, the human beings are bound. How they are bound? By different injections of Vedas and by different nomenclatures. Like Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says that like the small rope is compared to the Varnashrama identities like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. They have specific duties they have to do. They are bound by those duties. And similarly, the long rope is compared to the general injections of the Vedas. Right. So therefore, everyone is bound by these Vedic injunctions. Nobody is free to act. If they are free to act, then they are sinful and they have to go to hell. Okay. I will read some part of the book. But the laws of the Lord are severe because they cannot be disobeyed in any circumstance. The man-made laws may be evaded by cunning outlaws, but in the courts of the supreme lawmaker, there is not the slightest possibility of neglecting the laws. So one can escape the man-made laws, but one cannot escape the God-made laws. Like a checky machine. So when we rotate the wheat, we put and it goes between the two wheels and it gets crushed completely. So like that, no wheat grain can escape, just like no wheat grain can escape the checky machine. The Lord's Kala Chakra, or the Lord's system, nobody can escape. Even the state may sometimes not catch the criminal, but they cannot escape the God's laws. So that's how fine they are. You read this part, the secular state.
The secular state or the godless state allows the citizen to break the laws of God, but restrict them from disobeying the laws of the state. The result is that the people in general suffer more by breaking the laws of God than they benefit by obeying the imperfect laws made by man. Every man is imperfect by constitution under the condition of material existence, and there is not the least possibility that even the most materially advanced man can enact perfect legislation.
Yeah, continue.
On the other hand, there is no such imperfection in the laws of God. If leaders are educated in the laws of God, there is no necessity of the makeshift legislative council of aimless men. There is necessity of change in the makeshift laws of man, but there is no change in God-made laws because they are made perfect by the all-perfect personality of Godhead. Should I continue, Prabhuji?
The man-made laws, they keep on changing.
Should I continue, Prabhuji?
No, very good. I'm telling you the man-made laws, they keep
The
on
codes of religion, scriptural
Hare Krishna,
injunctions.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I'm speaking, Prabhu. You can stop.
Okay, Prabhu.
So your volume became low, like from just.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram.
Yes, Prabhu.
Audible? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm telling that man-made laws, they keep on changing because they are imperfect, made by imperfect people. We have 4 defects. So the legislative council, they keep making, but they keep on amending them. But the God-made laws, they never change. The same Bhagavad Gita, the same Bhagavatam. like that. So we have to be educated in those laws. Yeah. I think we'll just see one more verse and then we'll stop. One more example is given in the next verse. Yata kridopaskaranam samyoga vigamagavaha ichaya kriditushatam tatayvesechaya.
As by a sweet will of the player, playthings are set up and dispersed by the supreme will of the Lord. Men are brought together and separated.
So one more example is just like children play with the toys. They assemble the things and then again they disassemble, right? Similarly, Supreme Lord, sometimes he is like he plays with this world, bringing us all off together and then separating at his will. So therefore, don't lament about your uncle and aunt leaving. That is the will of the Lord. Okay, just me read the purport. So God can change his laws when a pure devotee is involved. That is spoken in this verse. Okay. The example of a player. Okay, read from this point, the example of a player.
The example of a player and his playthings should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is bound to award the reactionary results of our own actions, the example of a player cannot be applied. But it is not so. We must always remember that the Lord is the supreme will, and he is not bound by any law. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the result of one's own action. But in special cases, by the will of the Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. But this change can be affected by the will of the Lord only, and no other. Therefore, the example of the prayer is cited in this verse is quite appropriate, for the supreme will is absolutely free to do whatever he likes. And because he is all perfect, there is no mistake in any of his action or reaction. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure devotee is involved. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. So in this verse, it is being said that certain laws the God makes, and sometimes the God can change those laws also. It's not that he will make a constitution and it cannot be amended. Like previous verse we discussed, that the man-made laws are imperfect, but the God-made laws are perfect and they're never changed. But in this word is saying sometimes the God can change that also if a pure devotee is involved. Like somebody, sometimes according to karma, somebody may have to suffer a lot. But just because he has become a devotee, Lord may reduce his suffering on. Like somebody has cut his finger. Prabhupada told your head should have cut. But Lord is so merciful that only the reaction is minimized to cutting the finger. Like that. So therefore he has that full control. He's not only making the laws, but he can also change the laws when necessary. Of course, that change happens only when there is involvement of pure devotee. That is being told in this verse. I think we'll stop here. From 44th verse, we'll continue. Actually, I'm lagging. I thought of finishing this chapter. I don't know, I should be checking my instruments and everything. I'm technically a little weak. Please bear with me. Try to improve. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai. We'll meet in the next week. I think tomorrow we have closed book exam or something.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Happy Balram Jayanti for all of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You also.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
That's good, sir.